Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Overcoming the Podcast. Today, I have a lovely guest. Her name is Ishtar Abdul, and she is someone that I have seen grow and flourish, and actually was one of my coaching clients. And I remember when we first connected that she really one of her big goals is to be able to share her story and to be able to feel comfortable and confident advocating for people who have been through things like her. And it took us a season, and she's been working really hard on herself in therapy and coaching and everything in between. And I'm so excited for you all to hear her story today. And I'm going to send it to her to introduce herself a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So, do you want to say hi, tell everyone a little bit about you?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Ishtar Abdul. I'm original from Iraq, Baghdad specifically, from very small town city. It's called Sadr city. I came to America in 2011, and I think one of the most thing important to me is sharing my story because I think I don't know, like since a long time, I feel like I have this thing inside me just to share my story, just to tell women there is nothing wrong with you, even though like before I didn't know how to say it. I just because I used to think there is something wrong with me,
Yeah.
and it just take you maybe that moment you just realize like it's not supposed to be like this. We're not supposed to suffer. There's so much suffering, especially as a woman from Iraq. We had lots of shame on women. From even like till these days, every a week or two, I hear a woman literally get killed for honor killing, as they call it, which is basically it can be as small as having a Facebook account or TikTok account, to as she's in love with someone and her family found out about it, and or trying to escape, things like that. So I wanted through that too. So I feel like this is very important. I am here now. I'm in a safer place. I found my safer place, and I think I worked toward it. And it's not, it's as much as I used to think it's very scary. When I'm out of it, I just realized it's not that scary. It's not just that bad, when you just run away and you just start all over again. So I just want to support women, encourage women, and hopefully one day I will be, do something about it. I really like believe there is something we can do about it. Uh, I don't want to give up. I really have lots of hope because especially I see there's change, even in my country, something I never would believe it would happen. I remember I shared my story with a professor here in America. He was an American professor. And I told him I went through, honor killing because I literally took my hijab off. I used to wear hijab. You can only see basically my hands and face. I was that girl who grew up believing that she should be covered. And I shared my story with that professor, and his response was, and it will always be like that. It's never going to change because people always want to be this. And honestly, that really hurt me when he said that. It really hurts me because I feel like there is someone going through what I went through. And it just made me feel very hopeless, and I literally paused for a while. I didn't want to share anything. That was about 4 years ago. And I just felt like maybe it's true. Maybe there is no way like to change. But there is change in the history of like this problem exists for 1,000 years and over than 1,400, and still exists actually. But there is like organizations now happening, still very, their work is very small, but everything starts with one step. And if I could run away, everyone could. I know lots of Iraqi girls had run away and even went outside the country or stay inside the country with just, find out their safer place.
Yeah.
So there is hope, there is, I think all it needs just us has the courage and just do what we need. We need our freedom. And I think this is very important. And I think we can do change. This is why me and you here, because I want to do change. I want to help someone was in, just like my place. So
Yeah.
let's see how it's gonna go. But I have hope.
I love that. I love that hope too. And that's something that I've seen in you since the beginning, that even, when you came in, I remember you told me, you're like, I'm so scared. And, did I do something wrong? Am I, is something wrong with me? I just remember that. And I remember how heartbroken I felt when you said that. And, we did some reflecting, and now seeing you here, like if anyone's watching on the video side of things, I've just been sitting here smiling. It's not because her story is happy or anything by that. It's just, I'm so proud. I'm truly so proud. And just seeing you being able to speak like this is just warms my heart. So I'm very glad that you're joining me today, and we can dive a little bit more into your story. For people who may not understand what was going on in Iraq. I mean, I know there's been wars and things like that before, but specifically with women, can you share what you feel comfortable with as to like what women out there were experiencing or possibly still are?
Yes, they still are. I think that they give us, this idea there is lots of shame in being a woman. I remember one time my mom shared with me this. It's so shame to be a woman. You get naked when you go when you get married the first night with your husband, and you get naked when you give a birth. It's just so shameful, and then you will not be as shy as you used to be, as you should be. And she doesn't mention that when she get naked, her husband also get naked, and it's just very natural thing. And when she given a birth, she literally give a birth for a human. And it's just like, it's when I think when you are in that place, you don't realize it how bad it is. And I used to share my story, like it is very abusive. Like I used to be abused literally every day, for as simple as, can you bring me a cup of tea? Not can, go bring me a cup of tea. It's always orders with no respect.
Yeah.
And there is no respect, and I start losing respect to myself in the end of the day, because you are just a slavery. This is how I used to view myself. I'm just a slavery for a man. And that sometimes even my brother hits me and he say, how she can live with the husband? It's like they prepare you, like all what they do is to prepare you for a husband who will eventually will abuse you, and that's how it's supposed to be. And the only thing that make me so angry about it, and used to just make me don't accept it, it's because my dad was very kind to me, and he was just like this loving, caring dad. And it just like, everything changed once he was gone. He passed away when I was just 13. And then my brothers were in charge because they are the male of the family.
Yeah.
And it was as abusive as that. And it just, I start to watch like opera, movies. I remember I used to be so empowered by movies. And I remember I watched this American movie for Jennifer Lopez. It's called Enough. And how she just like was tired of it, and she started to find a way to run away, and then there is no way to run away. And just make me think like, I can protect myself, I can hit back.
Yeah.
And I just was like done. I have to protect myself. And I remember that day when I just held my brother's hand, and I'm not gonna let him hit me this time. I'm gonna protect myself. He hits me and he broke my nose, but since then I just like was empowered, even by the strength that I thought I don't have. I could hold his hands. I never even put my hands on my face, because I was like, no way, I can protect myself. So when you start realizing your power, even your physical power, we aren't as weak as we were told. You can really protect yourself, even physically. However, there is no law. There is literally no law. Like, you can literally get killed by your brother, and any family member. It can be any male member, cousin, even might be a neighbor. I remember a girl was literally murdered because she wore skirts, jeans, and it was long. She wore hijab. She do everything. She just was so beautiful woman. That's the thing. They tell you it's so cursed to be beautiful. And I used to literally hate myself for that, because I see like lots of guys look at me, and my mom used to tell me that too. It's being a beautiful. It's not a good thing, actually. It's very negative, because you will get lots of attention. And
Wow.
also even by their religion, they tell you when you are more beautiful, you have to cover even more. You have to cover your face because you're so attractive. It's not enough to cover your body. So you see, like
Wow.
this, it is like this,
Your
Tyler. Like,
body, yeah, like your body didn't belong to you at all. That, wow. Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing. And I'm going to get into some of the pieces in a little bit. I think the thing that stuck out to me the most is that shock from going from, being in that society, but coming home to have a father who's protecting and loving and sees you differently and values you, to then when that shifts to your brothers being abusive and in complete control of you. Still, as you're coming of age in your young teenage years and trying to navigate the world and being treated like an object and being told because you're pretty that you aren't allowed to have any respect and you need to hide these things, and the abuse that you got led to, it's just, I can imagine that that was really hard, and from what you shared it really does seem like that. And I love that you found this like inner strength and inner determination. And that also, like, listening to female empowerment movies made that much of a difference for you. Like,
true. You see
that's
yourself
amazing.
there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And it's like, that's the example you had, right? Because in the culture and where you were told by everyone around you that you were wrong for existing, that you deserve to be abused, that your body is not yours, that you don't belong to you.
Yeah.
And you're looking from outside sources to see differently and see through that. And that's just amazing to me. And I think that's a testament to who you are as a human being.
Yeah.
I love
So,
that.
I always like want something outside because everything in my society seemed very wrong. It's true,
Mm-hmm.
everything is just very wrong. And I remember I read this wisdom we have in our Arabic class, like the wisdom that were told
Mm-hmm.
by famous or like in the past.
Yeah.
So I remember this wise man told his son, learn from the mistakes of others, and it really stuck to my mind. Like it's true. Like so, the first foundation I had, everything is wrong, you know,
Mm.
but I'm still just 13, like I'm still just 13. I don't know who I am, I still don't know
Yeah.
what I'm going to be, what I want to be. And I remember also there's a story because, not everything, I think, even in the religion, I didn't want to be like just an angry person. I always like to get the good part. And I remember one of Muhammad's granddaughter, her mom died when she was a little, and her dad always said she's self-taught. She taught herself how to be who is she. So I can't be like this. I will just be self-taught. I will learn. My mom is wrong. My brothers are wrong. And everything all in this society is wrong. So what is good? I still don't know because I'm just 13. However, I don't think because for me, I'm very big, right? Like this is my age. This is all what I know. I don't
Yeah.
think, oh, I'm still young and again and again. I just know everything is wrong and I have to find something and I don't know how to find it. But, as you go through, even when I talk to you right now, like I feel like I went through thousands of experiences. It's not like I'm one person. I have
Yeah.
changed. I have, I used to read in that age when I was teenager. These books were written by religious men because the most strong powerful thing in your culture is the religion. In my culture, the religion, the influence of the religion is just so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So most of what I try to learn and just evolve and just be a better person is from the religion. And I remember I read this sentence: hey, Arab girl, don't be like the West girl. You are not I literally remember, you are not a body to be seen and eaten by the wolves. They literally describe me as wolf and be eaten by just not covering up. And it's also, even though they try to tell, oh, don't be inspired by them, they still use women for making them basically showing their bodies to them so they serve men.
Yeah.
They still want to control your mind just in case if you look outside.
Hmm.
And I was like, even I remember I read it almost every day, and it's just like something very wrong, like I still don't know, but it's just like, what's this religious man supposed to be a hero and all of that. But this is very wrong, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, and why? Because I'm showing my body, not covering up. It's they have the right to eat me. It's like make men so powerful that they literally has the right to eat you. Like, even though if I'm literally naked, no one's supposed to eat me and harm me. It's like given an okay. Oh, she was. They still want to use this in your mind, program you on you. What happened to you by men? It's by you, because of you. See, lots of. I remember that other religious man. Lots of abuse in the families in the West. In Europe and America, it's because girls don't wear very tight, clothes in front of their dad. It's like, are their dads supposed to be attractive to their daughters? Like you might literally, your daughter pass out in the bathroom. Will you say, "Oh, I'm not gonna go. Let her stay in the bathroom"? What about if she's naked and hit her head? You will let her because she's naked, and you're supposed to see her sexually. Like she's still your daughter. How you even think about her? So they always put that on you.
They're like, it's interesting because what you're talking about with the theology is like they share that, basically compare you to an animal and to a sexual object at the same time. And doesn't matter the role, if it's the opposite sex, then that's what that is to them, period. It doesn't, in my mind, when I think about that, it doesn't leave a lot of room for individuality, for expression. I think of I can only imagine what would happen if people were in the LGBTQ communities in that, you know what I mean? I can't imagine what would happen to people, or if they even could express anything like that,
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah. And so it's just like individuality as a human being is gone.
Exactly. Like, they leave no room to like, you have literally no room for yourself to just exist.
That's hard.
Yeah. And even, like, as you mentioned, even for like the gay community, there is no room for them at all. Like they even shame men, also there is lots of shame on everybody.
Yeah.
There is like literally new to, like, I remember before I talked to you, I was listening to this song, how they taught us women are like animal, just like it's very interesting that you mentioned it. Women like animal. And they have this thing, they always mention it. They show candy is covered, and they show there is no pee on it, or fly, there's no fly around it. And another candy open, and lots of flies around it. And they say, be like this candy. See, when you are covered, no one will attack you. When you are, see, that's what happened, because and you feel like, am I candy?
Would you? So question about that. Would you find that true, that even if a lady was covered, that no one would touch them, or would that influence anything, do you think?
I was in Iraq, like I told you, covering all my face. I wear small. Okay, Taylor. In Iraq, I used to wear XX large. Okay, XX large. Like, you feel like my clothes empty. Okay.
Yeah.
However, I'm still like skinny, curvy. Okay. So as what they love in my society, skinny and curvy, perfect. To match their beauty standard, skinny in all parts, but has some curve in other parts. And however, I was wearing like this size, XX large, covering my hair and showing only my face, no makeup, literally no makeup. And only my hands and my face, even wear socks, because it's also your feet's considered very sexy. And work in the street, going to school. It was in my college. And I was working with my other Iraqi friend. And literally a man come and touch me. Literally touch me from my private area. And, I am very shy, very quiet, very, sweet Iraqi, whatever the culture wanted her to be.
Yeah.
And, I still got so angry. I was literally screaming at him, cursing him in the middle of the street. However, I felt so ashamed. Like, even though I was wearing all of that, it didn't stop this stranger man that I know why he touched me.
Yeah.
Like, I felt horrible. And because how ashamed I was even hurt, because I didn't get hurt just because he touched me, but also I felt like everybody saw me. And now people think I'm bad, saw me being touched. Because when you are being touched, it's someone will look at you down. Even if girl will be raped, no one will marry them. She was used. This is the words they use. She's used. When women get divorced, everybody will think they are bad women. Everybody will disrespect them or look at them as a sex toy, literally.
Yeah, it's literally just an object.
Because if you are, because if you are not virgin, who knows you are not bad woman? Who knows you are just not going around and doing something. The society doesn't accept it. So their evidence is just like, literally how much you bleed in the first day in your marriage, because you have to stay virgin until you get married. So
even if someone forced themselves, that's just.
So much, shame. And it's absolutely the most, like, I am an evidence of that. This woman was literally one day wanted to cover her face because she thought it's too bad to be sexy. And I remember I shared that with them on my Instagram, because now I share my story mostly in Arabic on my Instagram. And I told them, like, now I wear bikini. I was on the beach, literally wearing bikini, barely covering my body, and no one touched me. No one even bothered me. No one even come closer. Hey, you, this is. And actually, if someone talked to me, hey, you sexy, I usually curse them. I usually scream at them, because I don't want you to talk to me like that. It's not okay. This is not the green light for you to come. And I'm just being alone. I just want to be alone. I never bothered any man, not in the gym, not in the city, not the one who wearing very sexy, or the one who is wearing very, casual, not so attractive. I never bother. I never give myself. I see men shirtless, and no one. I never thought, oh, I can go. Hey, how dare you dressing up like this? And the thing is, it's just, I remember when I was working one time and someone was talking to me like this here in America. I felt so angry, because when you come here, you think, oh, women wear bikini, so they don't believe in abuse. There is no abuse. And I remember after 1 year, I found out every 2 women, a woman sexually abused in America. Every 2 women in Thailand.
Yeah. And it's more subtle too. It's hidden. I think that it's hidden and women are silenced. And, like we recently had the movement of the Me Too movement, when women were sharing their stories of assault and abuse and those kind of things. And I think for you, it's very normalized in the culture. And for us, it's different in America that I guess it's kind of normalized, because if you look at the systems, they protect the abusers and there's not really much done, and women aren't believed, and there's not a lot that happens with the justice system, but they at least say that they're against it publicly, whereas your culture just tells you that you're wrong for existing and you are an object and have no respect. Whereas in America, it, like you said, it still happens, right? But you're kind of being told that it doesn't happen in other places unless a woman deserves it, which that narrative is not true anywhere, right? No one ever deserves abuse, ever. But that is out there to many who enable abuse, communities, cultures. I mean, sometimes it's part of cultures, right? Like what you're sharing, like, oh, I'm sorry, go back to your story. So this happened to you here in America.
What do you mean?
So sorry, I interrupted. You were sharing your story about something happening at work where a guy was talking to you.
Yes. Yeah. Like I'm telling, like, it upsets me because, I honestly, not just the recipe, but I thought it's better. And then you go and then you find similar situation and you hear similar, like, notions said by American men. Even like, I remember, this singer 50 Cent shared on his Instagram, and this is 50 Cent, like, he's a famous person, shared on Instagram, a woman spit on a man, and he literally punched him in the face. And he captioned it with, "This is what you get for spitting on a man." Like how she spit on him, he punched her on the face. How it's the same. And you see, like it is, and all comments tell her, it really upset me because as I came here, I thought, I will find different things because the idea that comes to my mind, it's very different. And then you find similarity and it's just very upsetting. All my freedom were taken from me. And now, I just feel like it's not, as satisfying to me. Even in the law, as you mentioned, like I had very, when I was here, I went to my family and my brother threatened me, "Oh, you shame us." The one who used to hit me and literally sexually abuse me when I was literally 10 years old, and I have no clue what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Like I don't pay attention. And I don't even know this, what is, like no one tell you this is sexual abuse. No one teach you. So they keep you innocent, mm-hmm. And then it happens to you and you don't know this is something wrong, your mom never talked to you about what is okay, what's not okay, So I remember even when I shared with my mom, a guy when I was in Iraq hits me and I'm not going to go to school. I'm so hurt. This is horrible. This is going to happen again. And my mom only responds, "You know what? God will punish him with his sisters." Like you see, even when people want someone to be punished, it's going to happen to his sisters. Why not to him? Why his sister will be punished for his action? He done this to you. Someone else will do that to your sister, to his sister. Or they say this: "Do you accept it if your sister go through this? Why you do it? Why you tell you say it about your sister? Why you think I just think this comes to women's mind because they feel I want to hurt you by someone like me, and then they punish themselves. You see how they are.
Yeah, and that's how they raised you. That's what they raised you to believe. And that's the thing is like you don't know better until you know better. Like if everyone around you is teaching you this, you're going to believe this. Like I think something as simple as like if you were raised to think the color green was blue and someone told you from the day you were born that the color green, that's blue. Every time you see the color green, you would believe it's blue. Every time. And it's like these beliefs that they're sharing of all of this built-in abuse and justification, all of this stuff, you believe that until there's something that makes you question it. And for you, I think it happened at probably a younger age than a lot of people, I would imagine, like 13, being like, what? And realizing something was wrong and wanting to make a difference. So I know you said that you were listening to female empowerment. What was the journey for you, like getting out and coming to America? Like, what was that shift like for you?
Okay, so one of the things, in my culture, of course, your family are the ones who will choose a man for you. Mm-hmm. So for me, I remember since like teenager, since I was 14, basically they look at your body and they decide if you are a grown up already or not. So, I kind of grew up, in my appearance in like about 14, 15, as they call me, I look like a woman, Mm-hmm. And since then, that's mean she can get married. Like literally, till these days, I remember a religious man, he was, but if she's 14, her body is ready. Like her body, she has the curve. She look like a woman. So, it's like, for me, when I was 14 and 15 and 16 and 17, I think I'm a kid. And I feel so upset when someone called me a teenager because I'm just a kid. I still wish I can play with my toys, but I'm just worried because, when I turned 9, they took my toys away. They told me, you are going to be a grown-up woman. And I'm just 9, So when I was like I told you, 14, 15, there are lots of proposals, which is basically cousins or people, men in the neighborhood, see you and like you send their mom to ask your mom to marry you. And, I used to do this. I used to do like a prayer, as in Islam, supposedly, to help you to choose what to choose, right or wrong, if this good or not good for you. Yeah. So I used to do that. And I used to tell them like, the marriage is bad for me. In Quran said the marriage is bad for me. So this was my way to not to get married, because my brother was used to work with the American army, and I know I'm gonna come because my brother come here and he can bring us back, bring us to America. So
Yeah.
I used to say, okay, I will refuse all marriage until I go to America, and I did this. This was my first step. Even though now I feel like I was preparing myself without even know it. I just know I should do this. I know a little. I just know how to survive.
It's amazing.
I gonna do this. Even I use the religion against them to convince them I'm still the good girl. The religious, the one who pray 5-6 times a day, and pray. I read Quran every day and all of that. And then I came here, and I just I just want to walk in the street. I don't want to like marriage. I don't want any of that. However, that was my first thing, like I just know I cannot refuse all marriages in Iraq. And then I came here. Tyler, I have no clue literally about the law. I remember even, I remember I was sharing this with one organization here. Why don't you teach women, immigrant women, about there is law, because it's very not fair. When I came here, if I know there is shelter, the second day I have to America, I will go to a shelter. I don't know, I don't know. I can call 911. I tell them, oh, my brother hits me, because my brother had hits me here.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you talk, I will shoot your head, throw you in the river. Your body has no ID. Who knows who you are? We're not going to report it. Who knows what's going to happen to you? And he thought I know, he kept this in my mind. Later on, maybe after 8 years, I remember that sentence. Yeah. But see, like when people try to put you down, they actually just put you up. Not even they know it, they don't even know it. He told me this, you think if you can, I can. And after 8 years, I remember his sentence, and I even reported. I was just in case if they go crazy and you think they can harm me, I report everything. So if something happened to me, the first people who will be questioned is you. And also that's empowered me later on, because when he said this, I was like, why I would call the police on you? With the police in Iraq will do nothing.
Yeah.
So why the police here would do something? What does it mean this? He kind of wake me up, and he doesn't know. And
smart.
Even though
you are very smart, you were connecting a lot of dots early on. That's I mean, he's kind of telling on himself there.
Yeah.
And opening you up to a system that you didn't know existed. So, wow.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you feel like, thank you for my abuser, because if they didn't abuse me, I wouldn't just run away. I would be just, have this symbol, because there are Iraqi girls who go through this, but also her family aren't that abusive. And they just, feel like it's not that bad, they don't, but my family just push me so hard, because I question them, when they tell me, go bring me tea, I don't just go, I could just go and it will be just, I love my family. Because my mom used to tell me, don't you love your brother? Why don't you do this? This is how you to love. So I could be just big, but I really think like I was preparing myself. I had some intelligence. Like I used to tell, even now I tell girls, like, be smart when you act. Don't tell your family, I'm feminist. I see some Iraqi girls tell me, I tell my family, I'm feminist, and we're gonna kill you. Don't you say even this word. Why would you tell them? Like you will tell them your secret. For me, that was my secret. Open Quran and tell them I did the prayer. That was my secret. How do you open up to your enemy? Because to be honest, your family are your enemy. How you open up? Oh, this. You tell them, I'm gonna call the police on you. Even here, like anywhere, women, anywhere. Why would you tell, I will do this, I will do this? Don't just do it. So they are not prepared for you. Because if you tell your husband, I will call the police on you, he will probably prepare something to show that you abuse him. I know some Iraqi girls, because they told their husband, you know what he did? He made her son, he said her son, go hit your mom. And when he hit her, the son hit his mom. His mom hit him back, and he recorded. She was, don't hit me. And he used this against her, and he literally took the kids. And while she wasn't hitting him like that, so I always was, I hear these stories, and I was, I'm not gonna leave any evidence. Yeah. Even when I got divorced, I waited exactly on that moment. I rent an apartment, and he doesn't even know. He was asleep. He called me, and when he called me, I was, this is the moment. I rent the apartment. It's gonna be ready in a few days. I know this is the moment when I have to call the police on him,
Mhm.
because you have to be smart. Courage, to be courageous is not enough. You have to be careful when you are in, because let's be honest, Tara,
Yeah.
we are in a dangerous situation. And when you
Yeah.
are with a smart people, and I think my brothers were smart,
Yeah.
and they know what to do without leaving something behind.
Yeah.
But you smart, I can be smarter, because don't forget, I'm your sister. I'm learning from you too, so I see how
Yeah.
they move. I just see, and just be careful. I told my family when they threatened to kill me.
Mhm.
I let them know that I am moving, so they know, because if they don't know, they will just go crazy. And
Mhm.
guess what? They didn't even try to contact me. They even try to threaten me anymore since then.
Wow.
They know how far I will be. I will go far, because, and also when my ex was abusive, and because
In
as
America?
in America, I got married
Okay.
in America, because
Okay.
To go back to your question, I could refuse marriages there in Iraq, but when I came here, they were putting so much pressure on me. They literally one time figured out, because I have a Facebook account, and
Hmm.
they were literally doing meeting to decide what to do about me
Wow.
having a Facebook account.
Wow.
And I literally talk on with someone, call him my brother. Thank you, brother. What do you mean you're a brother? Is there something bigger than a brother? And I was the message literally yesterday. I remember I was freaking out. I was so scared. So I know I have to run away from this circle, from their abuse. And for me, it was by going out from this to be married to
Mhm.
someone. And
Yeah.
I was hoping he's better. I will hope he's better.
Mm.
However, after we got married, he turned out he's not better. He's just as many Iraqi men,
Yeah.
and he was abusive first, mentally, verbally, and he just making me, question myself what I have done.
Yeah.
Because I always have this background of whatever happened to me is because of me. I hit
Yeah.
you. I disrespect you because you are a disrespectful person. So
Mm.
everything happened. He does what I have done. I always say what I have done. You make me angry, and then he tell me the same things. So I
Yeah.
was fed up. Lots of I'm responsible about someone else's action, and I end up staying with him for 8 years.
Yeah.
Try to have a child for him so he gets better, and
Mm.
then have another child so he gets even better. And then my mom tells me, if you have sons from him, he will love you even more. It's not like when you have daughters, he will feel like, oh, you are the wife who bringing him sons who will hold
Wow.
his names like he's the king or something.
Mm.
So I end up have 2 kids from him just to please him, just to so
Mm.
he get better person with me.
Wow.
And he didn't, he just get worse when before he apologized when he hits me, and then he stopped. It was he just like learned to just keep abusing me. He had choke me in front of my kids, and this is one of the most painful thing for me. Even when I remember, I just felt like I had felt sometimes I can be scared, but I cannot be scared when it comes to my kids. I just have to be fire.
Mm.
However, he didn't hit them. When he hit them, after 1 week, I know I have to run away. I remember when he hit them that day, after a few days, he hit the other son. He hit my big
Mm.
son, and after a few days, he hit the other one.
Yeah.
And I immediately was looking for an apartment. And I was calling this friend. She was an American. And I told her she was contact these places, my organization.
Yep.
And it was the first time I know there is something to help women. In I think in 2018 when I start asking,
Wow.
wondering what to do. This is the first time, and in 2020, it was very hard because he was there. The pandemic. He
Mhm.
was moving my abuser with me morning till night.
Mhm.
So it was just so intense. I didn't have room to just wait, because I used to say, I will wait, I will wait, I will wait until I find a job. And,
Yeah.
he used to make it very hard for me to even find a job.
Mhm.
So it was just, I had to run away. I called the police on him. He was arrested that day after a week, after I
Mhm.
hit my kids. And then I went away.
Wow. Wow. So you really, I mean, you woke up to what was happening. You found the resources, you got support on your own, like not knowing. Wow, that's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I commend you for everything. And I know I say it all the time. I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
And so can you, so now that we have a little bit of your background, can you share a little bit more of like what your healing journey has looked like? Because I know you did therapy. Like what kind of things did you need to work on with all of those deep beliefs that you're not worth anything and everything is your fault? What did you
Yeah.
do?
So I remember, when I went to the police, I told them about, they know everything and all of that, and he was arrested, and they gave me an organization, and it's called Daya. It's in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and I went on their page. I have to send an email or something,
Yeah.
and then they contact me after a few hours, and I remember I went on their page. You are abused if you are this, and there are like 20 statements, and all of them matched me. Like
Mm.
all of them were about me, and the disappointment, the anger, the pain that I felt at that moment, I felt like, so I experienced all this and I don't even know it.
Yeah.
Like you can be hurt and you don't know it. Even I remember when I share my story with some American people, and they say, oh my gosh, we can't believe someone can go through this. And some people even like cheer up for me, and I'm just like sharing it and have some smile. I go this, I go this, I go through this, and I don't even like, I don't know why they cry. Why would you
Mm-hmm.
cry? It's not that bad.
Yeah. Because that's what
It's
you were
not that.
raised to believe. That's just, oh,
Yes.
that breaks my heart. And it's just, yeah, that it just messes with, because like I said, they made your reality. You were bred for abuse. That's your family dynamics, the culture, the everything. And so of course you're not going to think something's wrong if they're telling you that what's wrong is right and
Yeah.
it's your fault if it does seem wrong, like that's of course not on you. Like now I hope you see that, and I know that you've definitely come that far.
Yeah.
But it's like of course not. But the really sad thing is you're not going to get that perspective unless you get away from that environment.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
like you
Because
don't
it
even
is.
know to get away too, right? Like if you don't realize how wrong it is, you don't know to get away from it. So
Mhm.
I'm so glad that you did. So glad.
Yeah. So I want this organization also provide therapists
Mm-hmm.
and financial assistant, and just support, just you feel like someone knows about you. It's not that creepy, because to be from totally different country, know nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and when you went to the police the first time, they weren't supportive, because I tried to pursue charges against my family and they weren't supportive. And then you go through the police again. I don't trust that much. However, they provide me with this organization, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of gave me an idea that it is very bad. And then since then, after a few months, I realized even the one who helped me, the American friend that I told you about,
Mm-hmm.
I learned later on she was also helped me for herself. So I just please her. And you don't know, like I told you before this podcast, like we experience things, so we know this is very wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So the friend that I thought she's my friend, and like she had helped me even with the moving, but and then she ended up using me. She
Mm.
would come and literally be annoyed by my kids crying. You know what, I remember this sentence that really killed me, literally killed me. She was, you
Yeah.
know what, you get rid of your kids, now you have to you get rid of your husband, now you have to teach your kids to be good. And she literally left the house because my kids were loud. And then
Hmm.
I turned out, I was like, why my kids are so wrong? Like I literally
Mm.
upset my friend, and then you don't realize it. And then later on, I started seeing lots of things, which what I learned, because I learned, even
Mm-hmm.
from watching you and watching other, organization and therapists. I learned this called what we call narcissists. You know, they make you do things for them. It seems good at first, and then they boom, they show you who they are.
And gaslighting. I feel like so much of your story was gaslighting.
Exactly. So, you know, I went then with this therapist, and then, you know, I remember the first thing, even I shared with this woman, before I shared with the therapist, when I was like, she's killing me. This woman, who I thought she's my friend, she was literally killing me. I shared with her, is if your brother do this to you and touch you from this area, is this called like sexual abuse? Because I heard there was sexual abuse for children. Is this sexual abuse? I feel like he had sexual abuse me. And I didn't even remember until I moved out of my ex-husband. Tyler, I literally forget this experience. Like I don't even remember. I never passed one day, and I think he had done it until I was away. And then something starts coming out to my mind, you know.
That was your brain. Your brain was protecting you because the memory was so painful that it's like your brain and your body knew it was trauma, but also knew that it wasn't safe for you to know that and for you to process it. So it pushed it like your brain can like push memories away and compartmentalize that are tied to trauma, that it feels safer to not remember. And then one day you get to a certain level of healing where you feel safe enough in your body for something to come up, or there's like some kind of trigger that, you know, reminds you of that experience. And then that experience comes up emotionally too.
And you know, when I shared that with this friend, she immediately responds. She little like just was and look at me like she's annoyed, and she was, yeah, I went through something, but I wouldn't share it with anyone. I know it happened. I don't say it didn't happen. I say it happened, but you know, I just like don't talk about it with all these details. And I didn't even know, you know, I felt me.
You were being shamed for asking and trying to understand that you were never taught.
Exactly. Especially she told me.
Yeah.
Especially she introduced herself when we met first as life coach. And then if this is life coaching.
Yeah. You gotta be careful.
Oh,
you gotta be careful with that. Yeah. There's the thing with coaching is there's no checks and balances system for anyone. Like there's no regulation, anything. Anyone can call themselves a life coach. They can say they're helping people, whatever, and they can do more damage, especially with people who've experienced significant trauma if they're not trauma sensitive. And also we've talked before too, when we've done coaching and there have been things that I've said, hey, I can help you with this part. This is something that's not for me and this is outside of my scope, and this is to take to your therapist. And I wish someone would have taught you that before. And I'm sure that experience with sharing with someone and them judging you and shaming you when you're just asking questions and trying to understand.
So, you know, I know that they are, okay, I need the therapist because she's not as she introduced herself.
Yeah, no.
And I called my case manager in that organization, and I was, okay, I need to go to a therapist. And then I shared that with the therapist. Yeah. And she told me, you know, she explained to me what I was experiencing and why I remember it. She was, because now you are in a safe place and your brain, as you say, all of this, you know, and, you know, that's the problem. When you don't know, you will never understand it, you know. So, and I was, why I remember it. Like, I know it happened when I was 9 and 10 and 10. It was happening for like maybe a year or so. My brother would literally take me to the stairs and take other brothers, my youngest brother, so it doesn't seem like he's doing something suspicious. And it's happened.
So he knew it was wrong.
Exactly, he knew. He was like maybe he's 5 years older than me, so you know, he's like teenager and know what he was doing, you know. So and you know, then I start going through, you know, the therapist, and then after a few months, I remember I was watching another lady, and then she had you on her live, and then I connect with you, and then, you know, I was, you know, especially, you know, like I told you, when you know you are abused and you always feel weird, you don't know, like this can happen in America. So especially, even from the movies or what even though I live in America, I still have no clue about what is America.
Mm-hmm.
So, I heard you and I was like, she's literally American and she went through abuse. Oh, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
it's so, like, you don't know, you think like it's just happening there. And it's so weird. Like, I used to feel very uncomfortable to even talk about it.
Yeah.
But then it can happen to everybody. And it doesn't hurt you when you feel there is someone to talk about. Just feel like, I always know I want to be there. I always told even my therapist, I want, what's going to make me feel good if I share my story,
Yeah.
if I say who I am, if I tell what to do, and what's wrong and what's not wrong. And actually, there is literally nothing wrong with us.
Yeah.
So, I started going through therapists, and then I have, some coaching with you. My therapist, told me it's okay to go with her. And I'm like, she's also a therapist, but also, coaching. And she was, well, that's what's coaching for, because you will be more educated. So, since then it's just like, it's just peaceful to know like how your brain works, why you think the way you think, because you
Yeah.
always like, why I'm doing this, especially when you are traumatized. You always will say, is this normal to be upset? Is it
Mm-hmm.
normal to forget? I remember, like, I forget a lot, and I share that with my therapist. I forget a lot. Like, I can be in the middle of the talk and I forget. Like, I want to say a name of things. It can be normal because I didn't go through trauma and I forget sometimes, because you just feel
Yeah.
like you're out of the space, especially because I think I'm Iraqi. It's so ashamed to share my story with the American people, right? This gave
Yep.
me this idea because I'm already hurt, right? So anything comes to me, it's just too big. You know how we see things bigger than the
Oh
actual
yeah.
size.
Oh, I know. And you
So,
know what you learned? You absorb things so quickly. Like you are very observant and very intelligent. And, every single time we come back with more questions like, oh, the brain does what happens here? And like, I just remember when we were talking about what trauma does in the brain, and you just put together so many pieces of, oh, that's why this happens. And that's why I react this way. And I think that like, that was that piece for you that helped you realize that it wasn't your fault
mhm.
and you weren't the problem, that you were reacting to something traumatic that happened to you. And throughout that whole process, I really think that as you were remembering these things and working through them in therapy, and then you were like learning and doing all the work and checking yourself and working on how to like change the beliefs that you've had for so long. And you worked very hard, because I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna change how I've always been, right? Like we're wired for trauma. We're wired to think we're not good enough. We're wired to think it's all our fault. And it takes a lot of work. And you did it. And like
Yeah,
you've continued. And like and even now, I just, like you said, you're like, I just want to share my story. I just want to be like, you've always been in you as a fighter and a helper and caring about people, right? Like things you were sharing, like you were trying to share with the other women what to do. And you've always been a natural leader, right?
yeah,
And I would say that you're a cycle breaker, that there are things that have happened over and over and over in your family and in your culture and back what you would consider home once upon a time. And
yeah,
you're like, no, it stops with me and I'm not doing this.
yeah,
And it's brought you here. And that's
yeah,
just, it makes me so happy. Oh my goodness. And like,
yeah,
honestly, how, even how you're showing up is like, I just wish people could have seen even a year ago. Like
yeah,
you didn't, you didn't know a lot about, and you literally were like, is this abuse? Is this that, you know what I mean? Like you had no idea because you were raised in this environment where you were told that abuse was fine and it wasn't bad and it's your problem.
mhm. It's family problem. This is what they usually say. It's a family problem.
Yeah.
Why you call it abuse? And I used to tell my mom, you literally watching my brothers abuse me. She was, why you call it abuse? She literally left the house thinking I'm crazy. She went
Uh,
and called the neighbor. I don't know. I think my daughter losing her mind. She literally said abuse about. It's just a family problem. And why you acting like teenager? And I was literally 16, Tyler. I
wow.
remember my neighbor. who was older than my mom, but she's kind of more, better than my mom,
Mhm.
as a woman. She is literally a teenager. My mom responds, don't say that. Teenager is a bad thing,
Mhm.
because teenagers act like, not sure. We're supposed to be sure. And I'm literally crying. My brother hated me. I'm bleeding. What's wrong with you? And she was, it's just a family problem. If you see what my brothers used to do to me, and I never act like
Yeah.
this. I used to go to school with the blue eyes. And
Mm.
then eventually, because she said that, and the brothers heard that over and over, eventually they end up broken my nose. It wasn't just a blue eye, no, broken bone,
Yeah.
and so it's you go through a lot, like you said, the most, like I told you in the beginning, I feel like I'm a total, like I went through tons of experience. I feel
Yeah.
like I was from personality to another personality, that I even remember when I talked to you, if I have multiple personality, because the way I
You did
changed.
ask me that. That's right. I was like, well, go see your therapist for any diagnosis. But I was like, here's a little bit about how beliefs can influence trauma. Yeah, I
So
remember that.
because if you are like, one day we're very religious, and like, when I think now, I was just acting, that, for me it was okay, it's time. I literally would be home in my room, thinking this is very wrong and very stupid, and where this came from. I remember one time I asked my brother, is which religion this came from? Why are you hitting me? What's this about?
Mm.
And then I went home, I went to not my room. I don't have a room. Of course, I just went to another room crying. I think this is very wrong. And then when I went back, I smiled and act very wise, very calm. Even when I smile with no any voice,
Mhm.
because for me it's an action, it's time to do this. Okay, let's act like a good girl. You're like a good girl, and then you come here, let's act like this. I just act, kind of safely, based on the moment.
Yeah.
It can be, I think, especially like, now I realize maybe we are on the survival mode sometimes, but
Yes.
sometimes it's the only way to be, is to be on the survival mode, and it's
Yes.
just a way to survive. Yeah, it's not that bad as after we overcome certain things. It's very good, actually.
Yes.
It's the safest way, and actually it leads us to something. I don't wish people to stay in the survival mode,
Yeah.
because that's horrible.
Yeah.
You need it. I think you need it. And what about if you have a car accident and you just open the door and run away because you are not in the survival mood? You will
Yeah.
have to be like stick, to take a moment to think what to do.
Yeah.
It took a moment. Maybe it,
Mhm.
it was years, because what I can do in Iraq.
I
What can I
think
do?
you were in fawn response. Do you remember we talked about fawn, where it's
Yes.
like the people pleasing, making to make yourself as little of a threat as possible to make sure that you wouldn't get hurt any further. It was your body's way of keeping you safe. And that's a response that I had as well. And then it's saying yes when you want to say no, because if you said no, then that would make you more unsafe, right? But it wasn't I wouldn't say that for fawning that it is like you really overthinking about it. I think it's an instinct. It is a survival instinct, and it's what you needed to do to keep yourself safe. Because like you said, if you would have challenged them more, you could have been killed. You
Mhm.
could, you know what I mean? And so that's what you did until you got to the point where you could get out, right? You had to fawn and people please and think that everything's right. Like you said, you're like, I'm the church girl. I'm really good. I'm very religious, when you were planning on your escape, right? Because that's what you needed to do to stay safe.
Mhm. But
So
yeah.
it's
I,
survival. It
yeah.
is. It really
Mhm.
is. Because you didn't
Mhm.
have anything else that you could have done. There was no one that you could have gone to when your mom's telling you wrong, when your brothers are abusing you, like when the culture is supporting that you are a woman and deserve to be abused. Your
And
body
even
doesn't
the
belong.
law, even the law.
Yeah, there's not the law even. You did exactly what you needed to do to keep yourself safe. And that got you to where you are now.
Yeah. But I even before, I didn't, I think my problem, like I told you, it wasn't me following. I used to tell them I'm not gonna do the tea, because they used to tell me this, but I'm not gonna do the tea. Ask me nicely. But I
Hmm.
also, like I told you, I have this shows and movies that I used to watch. It's
Mhm.
make me like the way, like I told you, I could be, it could be not that bad. And I just follow the rules and nothing bad happened to me actually. I know lots of girls, I asked them, I used to ask them in Iraq, my friends, do your family hit you? And they say no. And I was, what about if your brother tell you to make tea? They answered, I go make him tea. I love my brother. So,
Mm.
I don't want to say I'm abused because I feel shame that I feel like I'm weak. But I also think, that was like my problems, my pain was because I wasn't quiet. I was asking and fighting and I responded back. And I had days when I hit my brother back. And I had days when I hold my brother's hands. Maybe I remember one day I hit my brother I remember I threw a sandal on him because he hits me. And then I was like, okay, let's stop fighting because you hit him and now you have to stop fighting because if you fight more, it's gonna be bad. And so I was, okay, I will let him hit me. And I let him hit me. Not because, I was scared, but I just know how far it can go. Because I know, like Tala, I know how far it can go.
Yeah.
So I remember I even break a glass and the glass were in my feet, in my knees. I still have a scar on my knee. But I think I did both kind of survival mode, but also my survival mode is I'm fighting,
Yeah.
like you said, there's like this, I fight, but be careful. Like I told you,
Yep.
I fight, but be careful because sometimes you
Yep.
don't want to go so far. You don't want to show who you are. Because
Yeah.
if you show them, like you said, if I show them who I am and you are this is wrong, this is stupid. And even with the miracles they mention in the religion, but why this is even a miracle? Like why, for example, this story of Joseph and Jacob, why this is a miracle? What's the meaning? I feel like it's meaningless. It just sounds like, the Jill Jamshid story. It's a story about, a king, he wants to have eternal life. And it's very similar. It's all from the same culture. So, I used to even like mock about the religion. I don't even say it out loud. But in general, the culture, the religion, there's lots of things are very wrong, and it doesn't make sense. And if there's evidence in the science and how we work and how is that, then how this is, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know the answer. I just know it's wrong. So you go through lots of, you were there and you are here. Then, you just feel like you have to do something about it.
Yeah.
And, I don't think it's
forward.
it's not just, sometimes I really think a lot about I want to be the voice of others. But I think deep down I want to be the voice of me, that I lost it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That is such a huge breakthrough. Yes.
Right?
You fighting. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you just said that. You wanting to fight so hard and tell your story for others. Who were you really fighting for? Were you fighting for all of these other people who are stuck there? Probably. Yes. Also, because I know you and your personality. Absolutely. You want to change systems and, change all the bad things. But I think also you absolutely were fighting for the younger version of you.
Yes. The voice that was, your freedom that was taken from you.
Yeah.
You're fighting, for yourself, because now I am this. And you know what? I think part of why I'm sharing, they used to tell me not to share things. It's not okay to tell. Like I told you, I don't even dare to tell it to my Iraqi friends who are in my country. But, I feel like I'm doing this also first to me because, this is the most powerful thing. When you do things to you, actually, somehow, just like Jennifer Lopez did a movie and doesn't even know about it, right? Oprah just talk about, her abusive dad and she was raped and all of that. And she doesn't know, I will hear it, I'm
then it changed your life.
Yeah, but exactly, when you talk, you will absolutely inspire people and change people. That did change me, Tara. You did change me. You make me think. So this is normal. It's true. Everything, we go through, all people, even the people the professor that taught me it will never be, nothing gonna happen. He upset me, but because, I feel like, okay, I will show you. I can do about it. Because there is always a way. There is always a way to run. There is a way to start. There is a way to do something about it. At least start with yourself, and then just watch. People will see it, I have like, more than 1,000 Iraqi. And, many people don't like to follow me, but my my like all my posts being shared for like at least 50 times. You know, you can see how many people share
Yeah,
it
you
and
can.
how many,
Yeah.
many people view it. So my like they view it, but they still lots of people don't want to say, oh, I see it and I like it, because also people are scared. But you know, I just want
Yeah,
to,
and that's all
that's
they've
the
ever
point.
known. You're
Yeah,
you're sharing something the total opposite of, hey, I grew up in this and I realized how wrong this was and I've been healing and I recognize this is abuse and this is trauma and it changes me and look where I am now in America. That's hard. That's a big shift and a huge shock. So,
mhm.
and I know you've been making a difference. We've been talking about it, right? There've been people who have messaged you and have commented and and like you are changing perspectives. And I think that that's all you can ask for as a creator. Like, I don't know about you, but I remember at first we talked, you were like, I feel like I'm talking to nobody. I was like, keep talking. Cause you know how many times I feel like I'm talking to nobody? And it's
Yeah,
not about, it's not about the numbers. And I know you were here before I had any numbers.
yeah,
That like it's about the message and it's about sharing a truth that so many people don't. And if we're silent, nothing changes and people hold shame silently in themselves. And like, I don't know if I told you, I was threatened to my biological father threatened to shoot me if I were to ever say anything. You know what I
wow.
mean? Like,
You see the power that we get, like you really feel harm. You know, you feel like it's not
mhm,
that way. It happened to others. You know, I
yeah,
remember I used to be very upset about this sentence. You are not alone, and I want to be alone. I don't want anyone to go through what I went. But then you know, it's the reality. It's true. You are not alone, because many people happen, you know, to go through this and they
yeah,
don't share it. But
yeah.
when you share it, you just say, oh, so it's not, I'm not the only one. You know, here's
No,
Sarah, American woman, born and raised in America, and this has happened to her, you
yeah.
know? So,
And yeah, and I think, when we share, we have platforms like this, like it's so different. And I'm just so proud of you. I'm over here just beaming. This empowered side of you who knows all about trauma now and is like dissecting your core beliefs and how this has shaped you. And you've been working so much on your triggers and all of the things. I know you've done so much work in therapy. You've learned so much in like courses and stuff with me and just like all of the books and everything you've read. And I'm just like, you are such an example to many of what believing in yourself and acting and putting your life first, especially when you see something is wrong, and taking back your life. And you have fought so hard to be where you are. And I am so freaking honored to know you and to have connected with you in the
it's
ways
so
that I
much.
have. Like, I mean, I say it all the time, but it's just, I hope that you feel incredible having shared this because I guarantee people are going to be reaching out and thanking you for this because what an example of really not only dealing with being bred and led to believe that you deserved abuse back home in your country, but then coming to America and not knowing anything and having to figure out these systems and get support to be where you are, to have a job, to be doing you, to be a strong, independent woman, empowered feminist, sharing your story. Like, what? What? Like, who are you? You are a healer. That's who you are. You're a
That,
storyteller and you're going to go so far. And I am just honored. I'm truly, truly honored. And I cannot wait to watch things continue to blossom for you. And I hope this is only the beginning, which I know it will be. You're going to do amazing things. I know you have big dreams, but I'm so glad that you joined me today and that we got to this spot. This has
yeah,
been one of your goals. Like, amazing,
yeah.
amazing.
You know, it's very important, and I hope, you know, we do change, but also overcome over all the, you know, what we went through, and just be who we are. You know, just be, you know, just do us, and
Yes,
you know, reach as much as people. Just, you know, I think it's very important to share a story, because you know, it changed people.
it
So
does.
hopefully we can add something to people's lives, and also to my life, because I want to live. I want to live and love and learn and relearn, because that's what I did. You know, I always
Yeah.
learn and I left something to, you know, I just want to do something good for me. I just want to be happy
Yeah.
and be free.
And you're doing that. I hope you see,
Yeah,
I really hope you see that you're doing that. Like really, you are. And for people who want to connect with you more, I am going to link your Instagram if you're comfortable with that.
sure.
And, anyone who wants to connect, and just thank you so much for being here again. It was
Sure.
such a pleasure having you. And I am so grateful to be sharing space with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today too.
Of course. All right. We will catch up next time. Bye, everyone.